Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Gamers Initiative Podcast, episode 35, with myself, EliteGamingGuru, and Red Dead Panda.
Kia ora.
Hello.
Hello. Another week? Oh my god.
I know.
I can't believe we're... I think I said this last week. I can't believe we're at episode 34. I can't believe we're at episode 35.
And we've got a good time this week, rather than doing it all weird times. We've got a good time. And we'll probably do the same time this week. We'll probably do around the same time next week, but on a different day, won't we?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Probably a different day, but maybe around the same time.
Yeah.
We want to fit one more show in before the end of the year.
I just realised. I know I said last week Thursday. We have to do it Wednesday night, not Thursday. Is that right?
That's fine. Yeah.
Because I just realised my son's bought us tickets to go watch Spider-Man next Thursday. So, have you seen the new Spider-Man yet?
No, I haven't.
No, so not I. So.
I'm gonna be controversial and say I'm more hyped for the Matrix.
Oh yeah, when's that? That's coming out at an odd time, isn't it? That's like 22nd of December or something, isn't it? Or just just after Christmas. Yeah.
Trying to remember when it's actually due to come out. One moment.
Or was it late?
I'm trying to listen to this. I'm trying to check our voice levels and I just can't hear us. Maybe it's just me.
Really?
Yeah.
You can't hear us at all?
Not through my headset. Maybe I've got to change a setting on my actual sound. I've probably
no one
just
in chat to tell us if they can hear us or not.
Yeah.
Which is annoying.
That is okay. I'm just going to quickly adjust some stuff. But continue.
Should we continue if we can't be heard?
One moment. I think it is purely just because I have to change a setting on my headset.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Can you hear us now? Hello?
Okay, 1 second. Oh my god. Apparently you should never, ever... That's
sorry everyone that's listening. If you can listen, if you can hear us.
Ever play around with... Yeah, got it. Sorry.
Right,
sorted.
So we can be heard.
Anyway, it's working. It's working, guys. It's working.
Okay.
But yeah, what have you been up to, Elite?
Right. So I'm working hard. Like a legend. I've got to work New Year's Day as well now, so I can't drink New Year's Eve, which is a bit of a bummer.
Anyway, yeah. What have you been up to, Elite? You still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? I think it's my headset. Let me type. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hello? You seem to have vanished.
In one moment, I have to play around with the settings some more.
Are you okay? Everything alright? Can you hear me okay? Sorry everyone, this is a bad time. We don't usually have these problems. We don't usually have many issues. But today we have. So there. Thing is, just before we went live, we were talking fine, we were just talking fine. The moment you go live, it just... obviously it just goes wrong. Because why not? So, I was going to say I've been playing games. I've been working hard like a legend. And earning lots of money. And... because I want to get my pub and my garden set up. We can hear you, yes. Right, brilliant. Thank you, Pyro. Someone's in chat that can hear you. Can you hear me, but you just can't hear Panda? Or you can hear us both, but she's just not talking. Is she talking? And I can't hear her? I'm not sure. Hello, mate. Hello, Pyro. You can hear me fine, yeah? So tell me if you can hear me. Pyro. You hear the Pyro. Oh, okay.
Alright, 1 second, guys. I'm going to try...
I think Panda then might be having issues because she can't hear me apparently, so it must be issues with her mic.
Apologies.
But we was chatting, we was waffling for ages, as I was saying, just before going live, and then as soon as we went live it all just went wrong. Um, yeah, as I was saying, I've been working hard because I'm trying to get a load of money together because I'm building a pub in my garden, and I'm going to kill it out. Just the basic sort of more like a summer house. So I can sort of chill in it. I'm going to have my computer and everything set up in it as well, and I'm going to have a couple of old retro arcades in it. So it's sort of more like going to be like a man cave. So I'm trying to earn money for that. I'm just having a sip of my JD there. Oh, it's an 8-second delay. Pyro said there's an 8 to 10 second delay. Red Dead Panda, if you're there. Don't know she is.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I don't know what happened. My audio just completely dropped out.
Right.
And I couldn't hear anything. Sorry, there is a 8 to 10 second delay. Perfect. Sweet. Thank you, Pyro. Apologies for that. What were you saying? You were talking about like what you've been up to.
I was just saying all amazing, incredible stuff about you, but I'm not repeating any of it. Too late. I
know you weren't saying that stuff. But yeah, what
I was saying I was working hard because I'm trying to get pub built there. But games, I've obviously been playing. I've not downloaded the gunk yet. I missed that because I've been playing Halo. I've been playing my Conan game, Halo multiplayer because I'm really loving the Halo multiplayer. I recently go and check out a montage of a couple of my kills on there because I absolutely love using the grappling hook. The grappling hook is just a godsend to the game. That's fantastic. I'm so glad they had that. And basically that's how I'm playing the campaign. I don't really use the vehicles. I traverse using my grab hook now. I'm like, some vehicles, I'm just getting around the world with my grappling hook and just grappling around and everything. Yeah, because it's fantastic.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't you? It's far better than driving one of the vehicles. But we'll get into that when we get into the campaign. What we're going to talk about. But what have you been up to? What have you been
playing? I have been playing some more Back 4 Blood. And I got my Series X back. I'm so happy I got that back. I got a replacement one.
Just be thankful you can get one.
Yeah, I was so happy. It arrived this week and I got it all set up and was playing around with it, getting everything back on it, and just making sure my settings are all set up correctly. So I'm stoked about that. If anyone doesn't know this already, I had an issue with the storage on my device when it was playing certain games. Like Forza Horizon 5 looked like it had Christmas lights always playing in the background. It was really frustrating. And like Hellblade 1, sorry. I wish I was playing Hellblade 2, guys. Basically would freeze every time I put it into like the enriched visuals, which enables ray tracing. Just froze my system. So got a replacement. It's working great. Tested both games and they work amazingly. And I've started the gunk, and I am enjoying that. It's really slow to start though. I find like very slow to start, and I don't know, a couple hours in. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a long game, but I think it's a really nice game for people who are like easing into gaming, like young kids and stuff like that. Because like the big games for hardcore gamers, I would say, would be your Forza Horizon 5 and your Halo multiplayer or Halo campaign, especially on the Xbox side. So it's really nice. And it gives, if you want something like easy to play that's not going to obviously do your head in or anything like that, and still looks visually pleasing, I would definitely say give it a go. It's at least worth a try. I also want to try that Lake game that's just launched on Game Pass.
Oh yeah.
Really want to try that because that's been apparently doing really well. People have been saying it's been doing really well, or they've enjoyed it. So I really want to give that a go. Gaming wise, what else? Oh, other than that, I've been watching The Witcher season 2.
Is it out?
Started that.
When did that start?
Yep, started that yesterday. I was watching it last night. My last night. Your morning.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's out. It's out. I'm like episode 5.
So they released all the seasons at once. They've done that thing.
All the episodes, yeah. All the episodes are released. I can binge it, which is what I like to do. I don't like waiting, guys. Don't tell me to wait. I'm impatient, and I want to know what's going to happen right away. But yeah, so and just doing that, and then I think not next week, probably the week after, I'm going to go watch the Matrix movie. I don't have time next week, or else I would go watch it next week. But yeah, that's probably the most excited thing I'm really keen to watch. I'm Spider-Man, but I'm also not the biggest Spider-Man fan. Like, I'm a DC fan, so yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But I haven't really been up to much. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to cover some of the chat. Firstly, Pyroman. We'll get into the campaign. Well, don't want to ruin anything yet. We'll get into the campaign in a moment. Yeah, don't spoil Spider-Man. I'm watching it next week with my son. So no spoilers for Spider-Man, please. Which are
Hi, Afterboss.
An Afterboss. Oh yes, the rat. So what's he get? He quit or he got blocked? He got banned.
Who's the rat? Can I hear this? What's going on?
Yeah, there's this guy on Twitter that just trolls and he just keeps making stock accounts, and he's basically just a generic PlayStation fanboy that just is toxic and horrible and stuff. And I'm not sure if he got banned or something like that. Yeah, I actually reported a couple of PlayStation fanboys today. I don't usually report that, but they're the toxic ones that create fake accounts of other people. Like they've done one of Colt Eastwood, I can't remember what it's called now, but they use his logo and sort of make a name that looks like his name, and they post all sort of toxic, nasty stuff. So I reported that. Yep. Because why do that? How childish do you have to be to just really be so involved in plastic wars that you have to go out your way to make accounts and stuff and dedicate your whole existence to hating on something and hating on a person? It's just weird. So I just
Elite, stop using adult language, logic and language with people who clearly don't understand it. It's a lost cause. They're either going to wake up to their nonsense or they're not.
I definitely not.
And they're really not going to wake up to it.
I'm glad Ratboy got. Did he quit after Boss or did he get banned? Let us know in the chat. So yes, let's move on.
Welcome everyone who's watching. Yep. Yeah, let's go.
Right, let's start with our first topic. What should our first topic be? What was our first topic?
We can talk about your Halo campaign thoughts. Right, I think we can just jump straight into that. I haven't played it, but I still have thoughts around what I've been watching. But Elite, I'll let you lead the charge on this. What was your initial thoughts? Because you played the multiplayer and now you've played the campaign.
Right, so I'm playing the multiplayer, and I think we talked about the multiplayer before. I love the multiplayer, and I can't stop getting into that. So I'm absolutely loving that. And I love the grab hook and everything. But on the campaign, the only gripe about the campaign, so far, it is by far the best Halo Infinite. The world's extremely just... It just flows easily. He's jumping out of it, and it's just fantastic sort of just traversing around the world. And the combat's just brilliant. Yeah, I think the combat's actually... I don't know if the guys in chat can agree with me here. It actually feels faster and more fluid than the multiplayer. It probably would do anyway, but it does feel much more faster paced. It reminds me more of Titanfall, the pacing of it. But the only gripe with it is the transport. Trying to drive the vehicles around the world is like exceptionally hard. There's not many roads and it's all off road. And I don't know if you've not played the game. Think that the Warthog and the quad bikes tip over very easily. So, and then what makes it even worse is when you get on one of your vehicles, you get one of your little Spartans or whatever, or soldiers to jump on the back of your car that wants to come along with you. And I also don't like taking them along, so I sort of feel guilty because I just sort of throw myself into combat and I don't want them to die. So I tend to jump off my vehicle and ditch the vehicle and leave them on it and go bye.
Hey, did you see that that clip on Twitter that's going around at the moment, which is this guy gets all the oh my god, Halo guys, I can't think of what they're called. The soldiers off the Warthog, and then like grabs either the axe or the hammer.
Yeah.
And he like smacks the Warthog away from him off a cliff, and then he uses the grapple hook
to
hook onto that, and he flies across like the side. That's doing traversal correctly in video games, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
But
I think it's really. I haven't played it, and make no qualms. Like, won't deny I haven't played Halo Infinite campaign or the multiplayer yet. I am struggling to not play Halo campaign at the moment. It's really hard to not play it when I can just hear the amount of positivity that the community has for this game, and you can understand just by looking at the video clips of what's going on. Obviously, no spoilers. I've been avoiding spoilers like crazy.
Yeah, nor me, because
But
I've,
what?
to be honest, I'm not that far into it. I think I've only
Yep.
got to the first boss because I'm more sort of training around, just looking, and I'm doing all the little side quests and stuff. Because before you move out of the zone, I like to do every single side quest and uncover everything. So I'm doing that at the moment. So I've not actually got far in the campaign. I'm more doing the side quests, which are quite fun. And just the travelling around is just quite fun. Especially, as I said, I don't like using the vehicles. The only vehicle I've found useful to actually get around on is the Ghost. That's quite handy. But the driving vehicles are useless. And I'm just basically, I'm going around the planet like Spider-Man. I'm
Based
just,
on the terrain,
I've mastered the grab
they're
hook
not
now. Yeah, so I'm just like...
they're not set for the terrain. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going around like
What do you,
Spider-Man and I'm just traversing the whole planet with a grappling hook.
do you
So,
think if the mechanics and controls of the vehicles was slightly different, that would probably be more of an enjoyable experience? Because like
no, it's
going
nothing to
thinking
do
back,
with the... No, it's not to do with the mechanics.
it's just the terrain.
It's the terrain's really bad. It's so mountainy. There's so many rocks and cliffs and stuff. There's no real sort of pathway or anything to follow. It's just too rocky and stuff. And I imagine because there's no open land or open plains or anything where you can really let loose. That I've come across that where you can just drive. It's just far too rocky.
So you're saying they need an autobahn in a Halo ring?
Yeah, but there is what do you call it? Thingy in the game anyway. Fast travel in the game anyway. So yeah.
I mean, everything I've seen, that game just looks so much fun. Like I was watching something, and I know there are not Destiny fans out there in the world, and I'm pretty sure Elite's one of them who's not a fan of Destiny. I was a big fan of Destiny, and just watching, I guess the movement and the way that this Halo looks and like the way you can tell it feels and so on and so forth from an objective outside perspective because I haven't played it yet. I just felt like this made me think of Destiny in a positive light, like the positive things about Destiny. And then I was watching the clips of gameplay, and I was like, it really needs campaign. Not campaign, co-op. I would so love to play this style of game with someone else. So I can't wait for that to come out. But I've got to. The reason why I haven't played it yet is because I've got to finish the rest of the Halo iterations because I haven't finished them, and I want to kind of follow along with the story as it was intended. So I want that full-on Halo experience. I'm trying to convince my sister to go through co-op with me the whole way through, but it's really hard because I want to play it, and she's like, "Oh, can we play something else?" I'm like, "Oh, I just want to play it." So trying, but I'm probably just going to single play it in the end. If
I'm playing in heroic. I only even play
wait.
games in the hardest mode. I don't think you can play legendary straight off the bat. I think you have to do the heroic, which is the hardest level, and then I think that then correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Then that unlocks legendary for you to play through again. So all the people are saying, you need co-op. The game should have released with co-op. I don't think, as I said, because they want to play it through legendary, don't they? We need co-op. It needs to launch a co-op so we can play through the game legendary. You have to first. I'm pretty sure you have to play the whole campaign first on heroic for it to unlock legendary. So
who knows? I mean, I think to increase the fun and like my sister and I, when we play games together, and if we're playing towards each other, we just basically trash talk each other the whole time about who's carrying who, and it's just great banter to have when you're playing a game that looks that fun, and it will be twofold more fun because you're playing it with someone else. So I will probably, I don't know, I'll definitely play a single player, but I definitely want to play it co-op at some point in time. But
Tara said you can start legendary. I wasn't aware of that. But
there you go. You can start on legendary. So, Elite, does that mean you're not playing on legendary?
Yeah, I didn't realise you could play it. Because a lot of games don't usually let you play on the hardest level. It has to be unlocked after playing sort of...
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, the second from hard level, and then it unlocks the hardest level. Sort of make you play the game again, I think. And I'm pretty sure the previous games did that. You had to play it on hardest level before it unlocked the hardest level.
Saying difficulties, I always love in video games when you're looking at the difficulty settings, you're like, what do I want to play?
Yeah.
And the little captions that they have explaining, like, if you're really just about story, pick this. If you've played a little bit of this and you still want story, pick this. If you're all about these difficult, like, I love the fact that they have those descriptions in video games. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
That is something that we live in. It's great. I love it. It just I love gaming, guys.
It is
Obviously,
fun.
clearly,
Um,
clearly, I'm
yeah,
doing a
I'm enjoying the. I
podcast.
was just saying, I'm enjoying the campaign. The grapple. Just level on grapple. I don't really care if the other bit. I think the good thing about co-op is that I don't find. Maybe the guys in chat will agree with me. I'm finding that the grapple hook's the only useful thing as well. I've not tried using the sensor or the shield wall or the other thing. What's the other thing? There's something else. I've not even bothered
No, I
using them,
haven't played it.
and I don't think I'm gonna. I'm just gonna stick with the grapple hook, and I've put all my level up points into my grapple hook.
He says that now, legendary mode. He'll be like,
Yeah,
"This scanner and this shield is really
yeah.
good."
Problem is, I don't think I ever use the scanner. I think you can use it because there's a couple of invisible bosses in it, the hunters, which are a bit
Yeah.
annoying. But I still don't think
I
I'll
love,
use the
I
scanner.
love, I love what they've done with that because like with the way they've made it, like watching people go up against invisible characters
They
or
are
bad
tricky.
guys.
Yeah.
Um, that's been really cool. Or enemies. Because of how invisible they actually are. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's very rare that you see a game who does it quite that
They're
well. Like
like,
sometimes
yeah, they've done it
it's
really
really
well.
hard to tell.
They've
Yeah.
done it like Predator, where when he sort of moves, you can see a very slight blur. So if you sort of watch
Yep.
carefully, you can see him move. But then when they stand still, they completely
Can't
vanish,
tell.
and you can't see them at
Yep.
all. And I think
So
he's
good.
done really well. But because I usually got a grapple hook, what I tend to do is grapple hook out of range of them, or up higher so they can't reach me, and then wait for them to move and then snipe them. If you know what I mean? Because
What's
they,
LASO Pyro?
I'm not
Sorry in
sure
the
what that
chat.
is.
What is
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
LA? You're saying just not lasso? I'm saying lasso as you need to find the scales before you can lasso. I don't know.
Oh, maybe
I
that's
don't know
another
what that is.
level.
But probably just explain what you mean by that in the chat
Yeah.
for us, Pyro.
Pyro,
But
check
yeah,
out my montage I did recently on Halo.
of
See what
him
you think.
dying
Is that after
non-stop.
boss
Yeah.
Check out my recent one. Yeah. Actually, oh, my headset just dropped out. Sorry about that. Actually, Red Pad
Uh,
Panda, you fraud. You can go and check out my recent montage of
yeah. Okay. All right.
yeah.
All
Well,
right.
it's only
Cool.
4 minutes long. It's just me killing people.
Okay.
But it just
Anyway,
shows you some of sort of the versatility you can use the grapple hook for and things and whatever.
you're not big into single player
No,
games,
I
and
don't
you've
like them
made
all.
no qualm about that. You've always been very honest
Yeah.
about the fact that you prefer multiplayer games.
And that I didn't
So,
like
what
any
makes
Halo game.
Halo Infinite campaign different? Because I know you said you're enjoying it. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I
Kind of,
think
as someone who doesn't like those single player type games,
Yeah,
has
I
has
think what it is one. I like open world sandbox games, as you probably know, because I like MMOs and stuff. And I like things like the customization and things like that. And I just like the travel and all stuff like that. It's sort of, without it being an MMO, it's sort of everything you usually get in an MMO, other than it being single
so
player.
best of both worlds.
Yeah, so it'd be good playing it. Co-op, it probably would be quite fun. Not that I need it, not that I'm going to cry about it and say it's ruined. But it would be quite fun going through it again on co-op on Legendary. That would be quite fun because I can imagine because now in this one you have different powers. Like I said, there's a shield wall, there's a sensor. 2 players, if you're playing it both of you, then you could sort of one of you go for the sensor and the other one go to the shield wall, shield
Yep.
wall. So I think you can sort of mix up
Shield
your
wall.
abilities. One of them go for the sniper, one of them close combat, and I think that would be quite fun. Oh, what's to say? Legendary.
Chat.
Oh, there's even a
Legendary
harder mode
or
in Legendary, is it?
Spellbomb.
Oh, right.
True hard mode. Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you for
Right.
letting us know, Pyro.
No. We're not big Halo people, you
Appreciate
see.
that. Yeah. Well, I really like Halo. I'm still like getting into the lore of Halo. Like I know someone who's like knows everything about it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll get there one day.
Watch
I'll
my
get there one day.
montage. It might get you in the mood.
But for anyone who's watching after the show or live, pop in the comment about sort of what's your favorite thing that you've enjoyed about the Halo campaign.
Yeah, interesting to see what you think.
Something that sort of caught you off guard if you were like you weren't expecting it, or something along those lines.
And
Be interesting just to see.
I think as Pyro said, the world does open up later on, so it's a bit easier to drive, so that's quite good. So
Okay,
what I was really
that's
looking
good.
forward to just letting loose in the vehicle, but you can't without crashing within like 5 minutes of driving.
All right. Well, I think Halo campaign thoughts. Yeah, I think that's under this. We'll probably talk a little bit more about Halo in the next topic. Anyway,
I haven't found any
maybe
skulls
is
either
this
after
next
boss.
topic?
Yeah, what's our next topic? So topic number 2. So it was Halo winning Player's Choice, wasn't it not?
Yeah, Halo won Player's Choice at the VGAs, which
Upset a lot of
it
people.
was like. Did you see the voting ratio? Like 40% of the votes were Halo Infinite. That
and
was
it's quite
insane.
funny, people doing videos on it about PlayStation fans crying their eyes out about it. It's not fair, the game's incomplete, it's only a beta. And they were just absolutely whining. How can you vote for a game that you've not... Well, some of them, why can you vote for a game you've not played?
Well, it wasn't the multiplayer, was it?
Yeah.
It was just Halo Infinite in general. Was it both the campaign and the multiplayer?
No, people were just voting that just for the multiplayer alone. That's what I was telling them. They're voting for the multiplayer, but they've not played the campaign. Yes, because the multiplayer's so good, they're voting for his best game of the year. And like, when you say to them, well, then you offer up a better player game of the year, you know what they come back with? Returnal, that's a better game.
No.
You mean the game, even the devs advised not to play because it was broken at launch? That game. Get out of it. Go away.
If we look at gaming stats and the numbers of people who flock to video games, like, you get more people playing COD and more people playing Battlefield than you do people playing those story-driven third person over the shoulder 8-hour campaign Sony games that they're known for. I don't know. Yeah. 8 hours is a bit short, but yeah, you know. And you look at the amount of people who play those first-person shooter games in comparison to those other games, and you understand that Halo is the winner for first-person shooter games in the sense of the multiplayer. Like, it is doing better than Call of Duty Vanguard. It's doing better than Battlefield 2042. It's doing better than both of those, so it definitely does deserve it. Gamers who the majority of the game that they play is just multiplayer, and they're a huge proportion of the gaming community who play those games, voted because Halo multiplayer gave them an experience those other games weren't giving them. Yeah. And it's the game that they choose to play, and they're a huge part of the community, and so they voted. And then Xbox gamers voted too. PlayStation gamers who actually can admit when a game is good on another platform probably voted as well.
Yeah, PC gamers probably voted for it because there's
PC gamers, yes.
PC gamers all voted for it. Xbox gamers voted for it. The only people who wouldn't vote for it would be the PlayStation fanboys. All of them probably went against it. All of them went crazy, probably voting for Take-Two. And all of them forgot to vote for Ratchet and Clank. Because they're so desperate for an Xbox game to lose that they forgot to vote for Ratchet and Clank, which is hilarious.
I think it's interesting, though, to look at that. Like, I don't think they were prepared. I think they were prepared for maybe Forza Horizon 5 to win the Gamer's Choice. Yeah. I was certainly surprised by Halo winning it. I pleasantly surprised. I thought it might have been Forza Horizon 5, but it was just nice to see that it was an Xbox game.
Well, it's interesting because the top 5,
system won it.
Towards the end, the top 5 was Halo, Forza Horizon 5, I think Deathloop might have been there, and Metroid, and Take-Two, I think, was the final 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So no PlayStation games in the top 5 towards the end, yeah. And then
gamers voted.
And then from that,
completely 100% gamer voted. Yeah. So well done to Halo.
Which many say is the actual game of the year because the players voted it. That's what they said. That's what they said last year about Ghost of Tsushima. They said the real winner is Ghost of Tsushima because that won it. Now they're going against what they said last year. Yeah. Now PlayStation game wins it. They're going against that. They're going, no. Oh, what's happened there?
Just no Elite. I'm really bad at pronouncing names, by the way, so apologies in the first place. But he says, I've been blown away by Halo Infinite campaign 343 Industries. Definitely delivered. I'm so excited to see how it grows. So am I, because they've got this big plan for it, and we've only seen a snippet of it. So there's more coming out. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Halo... Yeah.
Halo. So welcome, guys. And say welcome, Shizno, and welcome Tando. Oh yeah, Resident Evil was the other game that was, I don't know why Resident Evil was in there.
They're big Resident Evil fans, so you got to give kudos to the diverse gaming community that we're a part of, and the games that they love. Like, I would never play that game, but other people love that game, and that for them was a game of the year.
What was the last one? The recent one on Game Pass.
Which one?
One was like that's where it went all hillbilly. and you go into the house. It's like a hillbilly house. And they tie you
Oh,
up.
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, is that one? Yeah, it was just okay. I played that because I've never played a Resident Evil game. Oh, that's another single player game I played. I played and completed that. Just because everyone always goes on about Resident Evil, played it and I thought, yeah, this is okay. That's about it.
Okay.
I won't play anymore. Resident Evil, that was it.
Back on topic, because you and I love to ramble, Elite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Halo wins the Player's Choice Award.
Yeah.
It Takes Two wins the actual
Well done,
the Game of Year award for the VGA. But
yeah.
Yep, not going to take anything away. Actually, that was probably one of my Game of the Years. It Takes Two, because my sister and I so enjoyed playing that. But
still
IGN
think Death's Door still want to feel that Death's Door was a bit snubbed, and so was Psychonauts 2 snubbed, because that won absolutely nothing, which I'm shocked about.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Nothing. It won nothing. Not best art direction, not best story or something. I can't remember what awards were. Best indie, it got completely snubbed on every single award, which I'm quite shocked about, really. I'm even shocked about the music direction. It didn't. I don't think it even got nominated for music, even though it had Jack Black doing the music for it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like wrote whole new, brand new tunes for the indie, which is not bad. Cause it was
fine. They got nominated, so they got recognised for the developers that they are. And for some people, Psychonauts 2 is their Game of the Year. It's all personal preference.
Said that. That's what Minnie said. I think even Ritanga said it was his Game of the Year. He loved it.
There you go.
And he said it was snubbed.
But like, if we're looking at the Game of the Year awards, specifically, like IGN just announced their Game of the Year was for Forza Horizon 5. What are your thoughts on that?
What?
Yeah.
So, oh wow. So let's just round up here quickly. So,
do you think how much did Microsoft pay IGN to give Forza Horizon 5 that?
They're out of pocket now, aren't they? I think they was planning on buying another studio. They can't afford it now because they've obviously paid off Jeff Keighley to win Player's Choice. They've paid off IGN to win Game of the Year. Who else have they paid off? GameSpot?
Oh, GameSpot, because that was Deathloop got that, and we know that is first party studio. So Deathloop got GameSpot's Game of the Year. Wow. Yeah.
Why didn't Ratchet and Clank win anything or Returnal? Incredible. Clearly paid off.
Because Ratchet and Clank it's not doing anything different from previous Ratchet and Clank games. I would agree. Like
it's the same.
Yeah.
And
but I think it's interesting to look at the different games media and see their opinions, because it is all preference and opinions of to who actually deserves Game of the Year. And for me, my Game of the Year was probably It Takes Two.
Oh,
and I loved that game.
I agree. You actually,
but
oh, go on, sorry.
But behind that would be probably Forza Horizon 5, because I haven't played Halo, and my mind will probably change when I play Halo, because I just love that type of fun.
I just feel do you think IGN's give a bit of a two fingers to the Game Awards for them snubbing Forza Horizon 5? So they've gifted Forza Horizon 5 a Game of the Year because kind of it's sort of.
I don't think they're that petty.
I don't think that because it should have got a nomination for just its high rating. So it's the highest rated sort of game of that year. So.
I don't think so, but I'm just happy. Like, you're gonna see this time and time again, is
especially next year.
Just thoughts and opinions. It's great. I can't wait to see what happens next year for all of these.
Because Halo Infinite will be up for the Game of the Year. It could go for the Game of the Year next year because it didn't qualify this year. We could have Starfield, Redfall, Stalker 2, and whatever else they've got in store for Xbox next year. So
oh my god,
I think it's gonna. I don't think Sony's going to be easy anymore.
Come on, 2022.
Yeah. I was just going to say, sorry, everyone, because I was speaking to. I forgot her name now. Oh, Red Dead Panda. I was speaking to Red Dead Panda just before we went live, and I had a debate, which I recorded, which will go live, which I'll edit it and do stuff and put it out later, with King Thrash. So I look forward to that. Yeah, Mr. Thrash. And he told me reviews are not opinions. They're not people's opinions. And he would not have it. He was adamant that a review isn't an opinion, please. And I was saying, no, a review, all reviews are just opinions. And he was telling me they're not.
Don't they use things like I and we, like, because you've got your unconscious bias of things that, like, I'm an Xbox fan, so I'm naturally going to kind of be more biased towards Xbox titles. Obviously, that's clearly the fact. Can't deny it. Like, I'm not going to ignore that fact. I can definitely look at things objectively and take myself out of it. But I'm always Xbox games, or Xbox is always going to hold a lovely special place in my soul and my heart, because it's been something that's really caused me to develop and evolve as a gamer, and given me experiences that I just didn't get through Nintendo. I mean, I got great experiences through Nintendo, but like, it is definitely an opinion. Like, first impressions.
Yeah.
A review is someone's impression of the game and what they thought. Like, some aspects of it won't be very opinionated in the sense of, like, when they're talking about the performance or technical aspects.
Yeah.
But then there are shortcomings. Like, some people might say this is a shortcoming, but another person doesn't think that that's a shortcoming. They might think that that's a positive. So it's definitely opinion based, and for him to talk about it being not opinion based is his opinion itself. And I think his opinion is flawed. He's shown it time and time again that it is clearly a flawed opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I said to him, just because you have an opinion, don't assume it's just fact or true. You can have an opinion of things, but it doesn't make it right.
My opinion is I think EliteGamingGuru is a fraud. Doesn't mean I'm right.
That's true too. Thank you. Mute. Right.
Kicked me out of the chat. I'm doing this by myself for the rest of the show.
I was going to say, that's Shisho. Shisho, Elite. I'm so excited to see Redfall. Yes, Redfall, I'm looking forward to that because what I've heard of, it's going to be more like a Borderlands-esque world. It's going to be a massive open world, but kind of like in the sort of the Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood kind of sort of wave, the 4 people. It looks like it's going to be really good. It looks like it's going to be sort of Left 4 Dead in an open world game like Borderlands, and I'm quite excited for that. It looks far more impressive than Godfall.
If it's Left 4 Dead, Back 4 Blood type gameplay, I am down for that, because I'm obsessed with that.
It's going to be mental. I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, that'd be good. That'd be good. Well, I know I'll be playing that. I'll be playing that.
Starfield is. I'm going to do a video on Starfield. So, but that's a later date. So let's move on. Should we move on to the next topic then? So Halo wins Player's Choice. Forza Horizon 5 wins Game of the Year for IGN and GameSpot as well, did it?
What's Game of the Year was Deathloop.
Oh, Deathloop, sorry, Deathloop. And I've said to them, they said that, announced that on Twitter, and did you see my response to them? I said, well done guys for a fantastic game. I look forward to seeing the sequel. And then I put a smirk. Because the sequel won't be on Xbox, won't it?
Yep. Actually, talking about Deathloop, I find this interesting, is because Deathloop has that repetitive gameplay loop, right?
Yeah.
So did Returnal.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference. They both released on PlayStation.
Yeah.
One was clearly better than the other.
One was broken, one wasn't.
But I think it was about just design decisions and other decisions in the game as to why one was better than the other. Like, the fact that if you died at a certain point, you couldn't go back, like, you had to restart everything, and there was nothing that, like, progress didn't really move forward with you in Returnal in the way it did with in the way it did with Deathloop. So you got to remember, gamers like hard, like, they like to experience and be challenged, like difficulties. However, there's a point where they like a challenge, and there's a point where anything that's buggy about the console or the game itself is going to detract away from that. So all the gamers who wanted to really, like, delve into that hard type of gameplay loop that was Returnal kind of got cheated.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't stable.
Yeah.
And they didn't get to enjoy it.
No.
Whereas Deathloop, you weren't running into those issues. Yeah. So I feel like Deathloop definitely landed a bit better than Returnal did anyway. And we're going to know more about it next year when we get to play it day one on Game
Pass. And hopefully they'll release some free DLC for Xbox as well by then, which would be funny. Which we will get free.
Bugthesda, yeah. I can't look up the tongue. Yeah, Bugthesda. Yes, yeah. And they say they're buggy, yeah. But yeah, you're picking our next topic. Pick from any of the list that we've got.
No, you're not the boss of me. Okay, boss. So we've got. Let's go on to. Actually, the power on documentary that recently.
Yep.
The Xbox Power. I didn't watch this, but you did. So
I
go.
did. Honestly, 6 episodes. You should definitely watch it. And
Did
anyone
you
who's
drink
watching this
alcohol
later on or
watching?
live, no, I was sober enough. No, I was sober while
it?
watching this. If you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. I think it's really interesting to see sort of how Xbox came about in the first place. Because each episode sort of focuses on a different aspect of the journey of Xbox and how we got to today. My only thing about the last episode, and I feel like it could have been another episode, like there could have been 7 episodes, was it just like it kind of glossed over some areas of 2030, sorry, last generation's experience. Like they definitely talked about the issues, and they were very candid about the issues in 2013 when Xbox One launched and where they mucked up, because they had all this goodwill coming in from the previous generation after they changed the narrative on the Red Ring of Death. Obviously, it still haunts people, but they paid people to get theirs repaired. They replaced all of them, spent over $1 billion to do so, and they won back everyone's trust and support from that, and they had such goodwill moving into the next generation. And then they dropped the ball, and they really just they were doing things that I guess the industry wasn't ready for. But then during that last episode, you don't really see them going into why they go around and do the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. Like, it's really glossed over at that part. They talk about the acquisitions because it's about the games, but I would have liked to understand sort of why they went with 6 teraflops and so on and so forth. Like, it would have been nice to kind of learn a little bit more about that. And then they talk about like going into the next generation, and they show the VGA reveal for the Series X and the reaction to that and so on and so forth. But I feel like it could have been a little bit more on the one generation. But everything else was so interesting. I thoroughly loved it. And you don't, like, they talk about how Xbox really was, the reason it came about was to target what PlayStation was going to do, because PlayStation was targeting the lounge and the family area, whereas the home PC or the Windows PC was kind of stuck in your office. And like, how do we get it from being just in there as something for doing work on, and how do we bring the PC into the rest of the household? And they saw what PlayStation was doing, and they were like, we need to do something about that. And I just loved it so much. I can't describe how much I enjoyed watching this, and I'm going to watch it a second time. But so fascinating to watch and kind of listen to the difficulties that they went through, because they didn't have a lot of support moving into it to begin with. And then they had to really prove to Bill and to Microsoft that this is a venture that they could do. And Halo, I can't believe how like important Halo was to the success of Xbox. Like, you definitely know I definitely knew in a surface level how important it was, but watching it in the documentary and understanding that it was what I guess made Xbox successful. And in stark contrast, Stadia doesn't have that. Stadia doesn't have that IP, that killer IP that is going to get everyone to flock over and change an experience, because Halo was an experience that changed gaming forever. Like, the things that they implemented in Halo 1, then Halo 2, and so on and so forth, you had to have an Xbox to experience that. And it became known as the shooter box. Xbox was the shooter box, like, obviously. But like, Stadia doesn't have that. And because of that, their platform isn't successful in the way that Xbox was trying to enter the market, because Nintendo and PlayStation were very dominant, and then Sega kind of came out of the market because of not doing well with the Dreamcast. But they learned some stuff because they helped with the Dreamcast. So they had a whole heap of things that go into... I don't know. I could talk about the documentary all day, actually, to be honest. It was so good. I loved it. You could probably hear the passion in my voice as to how much I really enjoyed that. And I was like, I want to see a PlayStation one of this now. Like, I would really love to see PlayStation's documentary after watching that. Or one about Nintendo, because I think...
Nintendo be fun. Or even Sega. Or they should do one.
Yeah. They should all do one. Like, it was so interesting because Xbox was willing to kind of show what was happening internally and talk about things that a lot of us as gamers didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And it kind of just gives you insight as to what the industry is really like and how important it is to not only deliver a great package, a product, deliver a great product, but also to listen to the people who are going to be buying that product as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's. I was muted.
No.
Sorry. Sorry, what?
Oh my god! Yeah.
I'm going to definitely check out the documentary. It's interesting they've done it now. I think they've clearly now got their heads screwed on, and I think now they're seeing a future with Xbox to put the money and the time into making a documentary. I think now is a bad time for Sony, because with all the Sony fan base and how toxic everyone's been towards Xbox, even Sony and the media and stuff, I think Microsoft is now flexing and it's cracked its knuckles, clicked its neck, and gone, let's go for it then. Let's show what we can do, because at the end of the day, we're one of the biggest companies in the world, we're a trillion dollar company, and we're not going to take this shit from like companies that are not rated even in the top 100 anymore.
Yeah.
And for media that are just chatting shit and they're just out for the clicks. So,
yeah,
because we're losing, because at the end of the day, this is a Microsoft that this reflects on, and it's not look good for business. So I think Microsoft have said, go on, Phil, show us what you can do, pick it back up, wipe the floor with Sony, let's get on with business. And I think they're doing it now, and I think that's why they've gone through this documentary, put the time, effort, and money into it, thrown money at studios, money at games, and I think the money's just going to be rolling in. And now you can see Sony now are on the back foot now, and they're backpedaling now, and everything they've said, generations, services is not sustainable, so we're not going to pursue them. But now we've seen them pushing on Spartacus now. We've seen them totally sort of backpedaling on everything, and on the back hill going, what sort of stumbling backwards. As Xbox has come plowing through, I think. And I think we're going to see a massive shake-up. We've got no next-gen games on the horizon, no pun intended, for PlayStation. That's what I was trying to say to King Fresh. Until 2023, possibly 2024. They've got nothing planned in the pipeline. We don't know the roadmap for Sony games other than what's out next year, and they still not got release dates for those games. Where Xbox, we've got a roadmap going in pretty much halfway through the generation, and as the time goes on, they're giving us release dates and telling us all these games. Halo Infinite was the last cross-gen title. They've said every game going forward is next-gen. So, welcome to the ecosystem. And if you've not got a Xbox Series X, you can play it on your PC, or you can play it on your mobile, or you can play it here, or you can play it there. And I think Sony are in a dangerous spot at the moment, and I think we could see them going through another PS3 era.
Yeah, I think so.
Probably not so dramatic, because they've not really screwed up, but it's more of a case that I think Xbox has come out proper like throwing punches now.
I think it's more of like right now, Xbox is shining bright. They've made all the right moves, and that was evident. They were making those moves during last generation, towards the end of last generation, preparing for this generation, because they had so many things that they needed to set up and fix and so on and so forth. So kudos to Phil jumping on. He didn't know how to lead a team that size, and he did an amazing job. And in the documentary, he talks about one of the first things that they had to really look at was the culture and climate of Xbox, because everyone was super defeated after what happened with the Xbox One launch, and they really had to kind of re-earn everyone's trust and go, this is where we're going, do you want to be on board with it? And kudos to everyone who's part of Xbox, who really jumped in and righted the ship and worked tirelessly to enable Xbox to be where it is today. So well done to them. I think it's great that we're celebrating 20 years of Xbox, and as part of that 20 years of Xbox is being very open, as they have been over the last few years. You've noticed that they're very transparent,
always,
with the community, and being engaged with the community to do this power on documentary. I feel like that shows that they are really appreciative of the people who stuck with them as consumers, and the people who worked for them in the past, and to this day, and talked about their troubles and triumphs, and were very open and honest with us as a community. And it's just really nice and refreshing to see that, because it's in stark contrast to what's happening on the PlayStation side, which I feel like Sony's very like closed, iron mouth, like shut. They don't talk about anything. And what PlayStation celebrated 25 years the other day, or the other year, was it last year? I don't know when it was actually. They celebrated 25 years, and there was nothing like this on the horizon for PlayStation gamers. And I think PlayStation gamers would have really loved to have this and have something to talk about around how PlayStation came about, and also where they're going like to this day. But I feel like you're right, it's not the right time for them to do that. They have a lot of work that they need to kind of write, because optics wise, Xbox is killing it optics wise. PlayStation, yes, they have the games narrative around there, what makes PlayStation great. But that's not going to be the case forever, because we have all these amazing games coming out in the next few years on the Xbox side. You can't sit there and say PlayStation is still the same as it was 5 years ago, because it's not.
And
because Xbox has changed that.
And there's been more traction as well about them purchasing WB Games. If you've heard about that on Twitter again, that's come back up. I think it was the Iron Lords, and I think they know people, and they were talking about it again, bring it up.
Direct Gaming. He says, I'm ready to be on. We're ready to have you at some point. Welcome, Direct Gaming. And other Zinc, you're going to be talking about the documentary tomorrow night. I don't think PlayStation will ever do such a thing. I mean, it would be completely opposite to what they've done over the years, because I feel like you really don't know what's going on.
And this sort of annoys me about PS fanboys, when they continuously dig at Phil and Xbox for lying and being misleading people. And when you pull them out on it, well, they lie and they just come up with the stupidest things like, oh, Phil said there'll be VR on Xbox, and just stuff like that. He said, oh, he's a liar. And you think the amount of lies they get fed, misleading information they get fed by Sony, and they still attack Xbox for his lies because Phil said something stupid like, well, Phil is stupid. I 100% agree with what he said. He said, he said originally, we're going to put VR on Xbox Series S, and then later on he went back on it because
One
he
X?
said, One S, and then went back on it saying it's just not productive because it's just not successful. 100% agree with him. And then then he lied. He didn't lie at all.
He didn't really lie.
No, he didn't lie. He told you he was going to go on there, but he said he's going to see how the market goes, and it didn't go well. This is why we think PlayStation 5's not on VR yet.
But the thing with that is the console was always VR capable and compatible. That was always VR ready. That console was always ready to do VR. It just wasn't what he saw the gamers were requesting. So why put all this time and effort into putting that on there when the gamers aren't really asking for that? And technology-wise, VR isn't where it needs to be for it to be commercialized on the scale that it is for the casual gamer. And that's who's going to buy this thing. If you can sell it to the casual gamer, it's going to take off. Right now, as a casual gamer, you're priced out of the market. It's so expensive to do VR on top of a console or VR on top of a PC unless you've got just money to burn. And I think it's going to be interesting seeing PlayStation VR 2 and seeing what they do and what they change around that to see if we're at a point in the industry and in the community where you can sell VR to the casual gamer on a mass scale, like thinking of how successful the Wii was. Yeah. They could do something completely different and changed the industry. Yeah. And it worked for them, and that was a massive success. But you think of what the Kinect did on the 360, that sold and put Kinect into the houses of casual people. You could sell it to anyone because it had a casual market, whereas VR is not at that point where it hits a casual market. Yeah. It's just not there.
Yeah, I have to just say, actually, I played VR last week. One of the guys who's got a PlayStation Pro and VR unit brought it into the office, and we had a go at it because there wasn't much going on. I have to send you the video so I recorded it on WhatsApp.
I agree.
I'll send it to you on Twitter.
I agree, Legal. I don't understand anyone wasting their money on a PS5.
I've said that. There is because they say because it's actually got PS5 games, and then you go, what are they? Rattle them off. Demon's Souls. Okay, that's a remaster. It was on PS3. Ratchet and Clank and Returnal. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Nobody
Yeah.
is spending $500 or £500 or whatever the currency, on a console for Ratchet and Clank and Returnal. I'm sorry, no. And they go, but Xbox ain't got anything. Well, it's already got Halo and Forza Horizon 5, which already, even though they're cross-gen, just smash those two games. Any game really on the PlayStation at the moment off the scene. But then it's from next year on, everything's next gen only. Whereas next year, everything's still on PS4. There is no reason to buy a PlayStation 5 till 2023, 2024, possibly 2024, 2025. Wait until those games actually release and then buy it. So you've got sort of a backlog of PS5 games rather than just buying a console for one game. Because nobody's buying a console for Ratchet and Clank, I'm sorry, or Returnal.
Think about this, Elite. Listen to the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Like 5-6 years ago, this wouldn't have been a conversation point at all, because Xbox had no games and Xbox was clearly a failure to them. But it's so interesting to see how much, I guess, everything's changed. The narrative changed, perspectives changed. I'm just super happy to be an Xbox gamer right now. And I always have been.
Yeah, what I was going to say is that I just went off. So the PSVR, we played it, right? Okay. So first impressions, that it is fun. It is fun, but it's just a gimmick. After about an hour, we put it away because we was done. There was very limited games. I mean, he's pretty much got all the games for it, but you sort of plan for a bit and you go, right, what else is there? But you sort of just glance through them. You wouldn't like you do on a normal game. You wouldn't sit there and play VR for 1, 2, 3 hours the same game. You wouldn't do that. It's very gimmicky and it is fun. We played boxing. We played some other game, but yeah, you wouldn't commit time to playing games on it. Secondly, the games on it, while fun, they're not, as I say, blockbusters, AAA blockbusters, Game of the Year winners. None of them are. They're not even close. Finally, which the Oculus doesn't have, and I'll show you in the video, the main issue is the cables. There's so many cables on it that anyone playing the game or is playing boxing, trying to box and move around while not getting wrapped up in the cables and stuff. We actually had to have a guy hold the cable up while we was doing the boxing, so you didn't get wrapped up and just pull the system off the wall. And this is exactly what Phil is aimed at, and this is why it didn't sell great. That's the fact. I'm sorry.
And you look at HoloLens, that is probably now being used in other aspects of the industry, not of the world, not just gaming, for some things. But that is not at a point where it can be commercialized to a casual market, or even to anyone, to the point where you can sell it like on mass production or anything, because technology still has to catch up to a point where it's feasible and you can make it smaller. Like, I would love to play like HoloLens at some point and go out at you could go at, like, everyone has a HoloLens, you could go out to a field and just play like laser tag with HoloLens. Like, that would be so cool.
HoloLens does look better. HoloLens would be cool. I would love that.
Yeah.
But
augmented reality,
when they've done it, it's too expensive. Like PlayStation carried on pushing for the VR, saying, yeah, don't worry about it, it's expensive, but people will buy it. And some people did. HoloLens was more expensive, and once again, it's a very, very niche sort of gaming community, and people would have bought it. And Sony, Xbox, Microsoft probably looked at it and thought, it's just not worth investing HoloLens into Xbox, so we'll hold back. I can imagine maybe for the next generation, I think I said this last generation, I don't know if it does come out for a console, it won't be until next generation, so Xbox, whatever it'll be called. We might see HoloLens with that when the technology's there and it's cheaper, and yada yada yada, and it's got more support. Because the HoloLens, like, you can YouTube games running on HoloLens and look fantastic.
And go. You don't even need a console, you just need glasses.
Exactly, and you can just and if you look at YouTube games running on HoloLens, they look fantastic. The Street Fighter looks incredible running on HoloLens, absolutely incredible. You've got a guy playing it in his kitchen, and he's got the Street Fighter characters on his kitchen island, his kitchen table, and he's playing Street Fighter, and he walks around the table, and it's like as if Ryu and Ken are fighting in his kitchen. It looks incredible.
Legal said he was in Halo when he played it. It's now $2,999. Give it 2 years. Yeah. I agree, and appreciate so much for you joining us because I sometimes drop into your chat, and I just loved that you're here listening to us live there, legal. But Pyro said
Yu-Gi-Oh.
what was it? He wants augmented reality Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I know. Even Pokemon. I've said this actually.
Pokemon,
I messaged Phil on Twitter when he's talking about, because do you realise Pokemon's was making a massive loss of money for Nintendo only about a year or so ago. It was like losing massive loads of money, and I said, if you're going to get anything that you want, if you're going to approach Nintendo for anything and you want something that's continuous, because a game's of a service, I was saying you should put Pokemon on Game Pass, and then Pokemon would be a fantastic game to have augmented. So you can actually walk around, see the balls, pick them up, and then you come across someone else with HoloLens, and then you both have a proper Pokemon battle with your Pokemon using HoloLens, so you actually see the creatures, and it'd be incredible. Imagine it in a park.
It'd be
incredible. Just having an augmented Pokemon battle. That would just be mental.
They could partner.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll ever be. I don't even think they'll ever take the IP directly off Nintendo. I think Nintendo.
No. I don't want to take the IP off them. Even though I don't believe Nintendo actually own.
I don't think they want to share it.
They've only got a percentage of it. No, but they could just put it on Game Pass. You know what I mean? Just sort of like MLB's on Game Pass. They could just put it on but Sony Xbox don't even have to make money from it. Just the fact it's on Game Pass will bring people into Game Pass to play Pokemon, and then buy subscriptions to Game Pass. But
I'm just going to put this out. You and I have waffled again. Go continue reading.
I was just saying. I was reading that I don't think Nintendo actually own Pokemon 100%. I think they only own a percentage of it. So if Microsoft bought more of the shares, or just a certain percentage, they get some decisions on the rights. That's what I was reading when I was reading that Pokemon was making Nintendo were losing a lot of money on Pokemon. But anyway, that's for another day. Shall we get on with our last topic?
I've kind of got a few different things, but I wanted to go back to talk about what you're saying to do with what were you saying about the PlayStation narrative? And I can't remember, actually. It was too far ago. We've talked about so much, but I wanted to talk about just something that the narrative that's going on Twitter at the moment oh yes, that's what it was. It was to do with Phil not saying something, or Xbox saying something or doing, and then changing their mind. Xbox hasn't really gone back on anything that they've said remotely over the last couple of years, other than the Xbox Live stuff. But people are now I need to learn to sentence at one point, guys. But people are now complaining about the fact that Xbox and Phil were talking about how or Xbox, that Yakuza or Game Pass is the home for Yakuza, and now Yakuza is some of the titles are no longer on Game Pass, so they're talking about buying physical games a king again. That's what you should be doing. What point do we have to kind of tattoo this into your brains that anything that's on Game Pass you can still buy? Anything. Oh, no. If you want to buy physical, actual buy your games, not just physical, but buy your games, you can do that. You get a discount on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yakuza is there because it's something that was missing in Game Pass, and they're filling that there because there are gamers. You need to bring gamers to you, so you got to kind of cater to them. And part of that was Yakuza wasn't there, and Yakuza is there now. But complaining that it's off Game Pass, or some of the games are no longer on Game Pass. Game Pass is a games as a service, and subscription service, in which you're going to have titles rotate in and out consistently. It's never not been a fact. This whole time that Game Pass has been around, you can buy the game while it's there at a discount. You can play it while it's there and then choose to buy it before it goes out of Game Pass. But why is this still a talking point? One moment you guys are happy that Spartacus is coming along, because I guarantee you Spartacus is going to be doing the same thing with some of their games. And all you've got to do now is just pick apart every little thing that Xbox is doing, because there's nothing else to do, because you've got no games to play.
That is it.
So you're just complaining about anything else. Go complain about what PlayStation is doing.
They never once. Do. Yeah, they never do. that PlayStation's literally
Get your act together.
charging them. Like, what was the recent thing? The recent bit of news? What was some guy was waffling on about something like? I think it was Red Dead Panda again. He was complaining about Sonic on Xbox.
That's my name, by the way. You just said Red Dead Panda
Sorry,
again.
no, Red Dragon. And he was complaining about Sonic on Xbox as he always does. And I said, "What, mate? Why have you not put any focus into Sony blocking? What was the game? They've blocked the free upgrade for the PS5 version of it. What's that game recently? Anyone in chat can help? There's a game that recently come out, and Sony have blocked the free PS5 upgrade. Even though it's free, it's a free upgrade, but they won't allow it for the PS5. So you have to pay for it.
I know the game you're talking about. We were talking about this the other week. I can't think of the game, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Why,
yeah.
why is there no rage over this kind of thing? Why is there no rage? Why are they now looking for silly faults like, oh, the gun only rate is 61%? Well, Sony's doing this. Sony's charging for upgrades. All they've got is, the gun only rate is 60%.
Mortal Shell?
By the way, yeah, Mortal Shell, yeah. By the way, that's what, yeah. And then on the gunk, it rated 71%, so it's trash. It's Game Pass fodder. Days Gone, which one of the games they said should go in a year, rated 71%. And they said it's a fantastic. The scores don't matter. It's a fantastic game still. Destruction All Stars, which is wind back to the release of the consoles. Xbox has no games, but PS5's got Destruction All Stars, GODFALL. Both those games rated 60s and 50s, but yet they're hating on the gunk, which rated 71%. There is the goalpost moving, the flip flop, the contradiction, and the hypocrisy. All of it in one big massive poo cake is unreal on the PlayStation side. They really need something to play. And unfortunately, what's sad is that when they do get something to play, it'll be Horizon Zero Dawn, and after a week they would have all completed it and then moved on to with nothing else, and they won't have anything else to play until God of War drops.
Yeah. It's interesting to watch, though, like to actually look at what they say, and they kind of, as if the game is PlayStation only, and it scores a lowish Metacritic. Obviously, any game is fun because it's opinions. If you enjoy a game, you enjoy a game. If someone doesn't enjoy a game, you don't enjoy a game. Like, whatever, it's opinion-based. But for them to kind of just sort of say that the Metacritic score, and I know Metacritic's rubbish and we talk about that, but contrastly speaking, that's what they talk about, so that's why we're talking about this. To talk about a game that doesn't score that well on Metacritic, but because it's a PlayStation first-party game, or it's a PlayStation exclusive, they're going to love the hell out of it. But they can't do the same for Xbox at all. No. They refuse to do that for Xbox. Xbox gamers have made it very clear that they don't like Metacritic to a certain degree.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to whether or not you like the game, go follow.
PC gamers, they don't really. Yeah. PC gamers and Xbox don't really follow Metacritic. Only PlayStation gamers do, but only when it suits their narrative. Then
PC gamers look at Steam reviews. If you want to listen to whether or not you like a game, or want to try out a game, listen to a real gamer and hear their opinion on it, in the sense of, because they're looking at it like you would look at it. Whereas Metacritic is just so politicized around my box is better than your box rubbish. Yeah. So to talk about a game,
Metacritic does clickbait. Yeah. And I think,
really
who was it who done it a while back? Done a really good video on it. I can't remember his name now. And he showed that Metacritic also is very much based on the reviews they released. Because though they get a lot of reviews in, and you can actually see, if you go to Metacritic, you can see, go to the very, very bottom, there will be reviews at the bottom that have not been released, but they've been but the game's been reviewed. Now they Metacritic basically pick and choose what reviews they release, and it's very much to do with sort of how many views it brings their site, yada yada yada. And he said so basically there could be loads of excellent reviews for Halo Infinite that are sitting in the sort of holding area that have not been released, so the score's not been boosted. So, I don't get why they even hold back reviews. Why they are held in that little grey area. Why they just don't release all the reviews? Because PlayStation already has like 50 to 100 more reviews than Xbox games anyway. So I don't know why they don't release the Xbox ones. Why there's some in the holding area, almost if if they're holding back those scores.
It it's just interesting to like watch what's happening on Twitter and just looking at the stupidness that is those toxic PlayStation ponies that have nothing else to do, because they literally have nothing else to do. The gunk released after Halo Infinite campaign, right?
Yeah.
What games are they playing? Like Five Nights at Freddy's just released on the 16th, right? And there aren't that many games to play on PlayStation.
No.
Why aren't people playing that game?
No.
Where was the? I don't feel like there's been much marketing for that towards the release date of Five Nights at Freddy's, unless it's been delayed and I haven't been aware of it. But it's released.
Do you know what
and I'm like,
me of?
if you've got nothing else to do, play that game, because you don't have many games to play. No, you're busy going onto Twitter, going onto Metacritic, going onto Xbox Gamers YouTube channels and trashing the hell out of their games because you've got nothing better to do other than replay your other games or play nothing. You're just playing toxic fanboy trash. It's rubbish, and I'm over it. I'm just so over it. Get a life and go play a game.
The other thing I was going to say, I forgot what I was saying. What was you talking about? Oh shit, I've had too much JD and Coke. I was going to say something, and it was really interesting, I promise. But I forgot what it was.
Laughing my ass off when I heard them say MS paid for Halo to get good scores. Yes, apparently the over positive review scores for Halo means that Xbox has been paying for Halo review scores.
Yeah. And Sony have never done that, even though they've been caught doing it. They've been caught doing it in their movies. They were caught and were sued for paying for ratings reviews, high ratings for their movies, and Sony were caught doing that and sued for it. But they're not doing it for the games, honest, Gov. We're not doing it for games, only our movies.
Did you watch that Twitter Space clip, Elite, on Twitter of the guy who's like saying that like they paid for these reviews, and this other guy's talking about them like, what reviews? Where's your proof? He's like, we're not going to talk about this, and he uses that his language is colourful. And he's like, so we're not getting into this. And they're like, well, you brought it up. And he's like, well, we're not having this conversation. It's like, well, if you're going to bring up a conversation in a Twitter space, I don't do Twitter spaces, by the way. If you're going to bring it up, talk about it. You can't just bring up a topic and then go, I don't want to talk about it, because you realize that you probably mucked up, and the conversation point is going to be, where's your evidence? There's no proof. And the same can be said about PlayStation.
The King Thrash time with the debate, there's many times where he would make a point, and then he say, I don't have to. If you don't know, then there's no point talking about it. And I say, well, no, I want to know. So you tell me you know what you're talking about. So explain to me. I don't have to. If you don't know, then that's on you. So you think, no, that's not how. You can't make a point, but then not back it up with anything. And then when I ask you to back it up, you say, oh, if you don't know, don't worry about it. That's not how things work. You know what I mean? It's
really not how things work. Like, if you want to learn and build up as perspectives and other ideas and other people, like,
if you're gonna make a statement,
like I have played the Halo campaign, right? And I asked for your thoughts on it.
Yeah. If you're gonna make a statement, back it up. Yeah. But don't make a statement.
You're gonna make a statement,
and then when you get quizzed in your statement, then backtrack and run and hide from it, and then just shout at everyone else saying, "Oh, you don't understand, you don't know." No, you've made a statement. Back it up back it up. What's your point? What information you got to back up your thing? And it's like they just run and hide. Like, no, shut up. Don't quit like kids.
But to say, like, if you don't know, I don't want to talk about it, like, that could be said if you've never played this game, I'm not going to tell you if it's any good or not. Like, how dumb is that statement? That's a stupid ass statement that you should to say. Say something like that to do it. But, like, I don't know. It's just interesting.
She just said about Uncharted. The IGN got a score. The PlayStation fans cried and moaned at them, and they raised the score. Didn't they? I remember that.
Yeah.
And also, I was going to say the point where Halo. Who remembers Halo Infinite recently getting review bombed on Metacritic? Everyone remembers that. It got massively review bombed.
Yep.
Who remembers when Last of Us 2 got massively review bombed? What happened? Metacritic deleted the bomb scores, saying, "Oh no, we won't accept that," and they decided to delete loads of them, didn't they? So why didn't they do that for Halo Infinite or any Xbox games? Why didn't they just delete review bombing?
So, do you know what game? I don't know why that's two standards, but do you know what PlayStation gamers are playing all next year until their games start releasing, or even through Christmas period? they're just going to be playing Metacritic and Twitter.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to be doing. They've got nothing else to do. Whereas Xbox gamers are enjoying games. Like the Gunk just released. It's probably not going to be for everyone, but give it a go. There's more games on Game Pass all the time.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played Forza Horizon 5, play Forza Horizon 5. If you haven't played Halo, definitely play Halo. Like, there's just to look forward into the future. There's not a moment where I can't like envision great games coming to Xbox gamers, to PC gamers who choose to play on PC Game Pass or to buy a game through the MS store. Like, it's insane what's coming, the positivity, the games. Thinking about where we were like 5 years ago, it was just really, really different place, and I'm so happy to see where we're going. But it's just interesting to see that PlayStation gamers are so closed-minded about where they're at. Like, anything that isn't them winning is like a personal attack.
I'd hate to know them in real life. When you think in real life, if I was in real life, I think if I was in a pub having a drink with one of them, I think I'd end up punching them a lot in the face. They just come across as very horrible, ignorant people that you just wouldn't want to know in real life. Can you imagine one of these kind of people in your workplace? And, or imagine them as your boss, or just imagine anything in real life. And if you knew these people and how the way they think and how sort of shallow-minded and single-minded and sort of narrow vision that they have on everything in life. Can you imagine you knew one of these people? It'd be just weird and horrible.
I think they're not ready for PlayStation to not be the golden child of the gaming industry. I think it's hard. They said they were ready they wanted competition. I don't think they were ready for competition. The Xbox company was ready to provide some competition. Yeah. PlayStation was a bit far off the mark. They've got
trillions of dollars. Of course they can support competition. They only need that push. And unfortunately Sony give it to them. And now they're going to get steamrolled.
Question though.
And now they're all going to cry, it's not fair, you've got lots of money. That's what they were saying. But Microsoft's got lots of money and it's using its money, it's not fair. It's like, what the fuck? What? Of course it's going to use its money.
Question here though, like, because they've got so many games to play on the PlayStation side, they can now. There's another game that they can play, right? If you haven't upgraded to next gen, GODFALL on the PS4, right?
That's the last point we didn't cover here. We've gone way over our limit, but should we just cover this briefly?
Let's talk about it very quickly. Yeah.
Who remembers, everyone in chat? Who remembers when it was announced that the GODFALL will only be on PS5 because it can only run on the PS5 due to its SSD? Who remembers that?
Just before we do it, shout out to chat. You guys are amazing.
You are.
Appreciate it.
You're keeping the chat going. Fantastic. We love you. If I had 1,000 views, I would 1,000 subs. I don't know what I'd do. Something I could do.
I don't know what you do, but you definitely do another podcast. But anyway, back to PS4.
I would like to be giving more. I would like to be. I would want to be one of those
giving stuff away.
Yeah, I don't know why there's not enough podcasts that give shit away. That's what really annoys me. I listen to podcasts, and I'm not going to name names, and I do like some of these podcasts, but I don't get for the amount of subs a lot of them have got, and they must be rolling. Sort of, they must have a lot of cash coming in. Why are they not giving away? Anyway, go on. Oh.
Sorry, we'll talk about that later. But Other Zinc says he remembers, or they remember, that the GODFALL could only run on the PS5. Yeah. And I'll let you talk about that topic.
So I'm confused, and actually, it's not even too recently. So GODFALL now has gone to the PlayStation 4. So, and there's been absolutely no media coverage of this. It's been absolutely silent on both sides, to be honest. I think Xbox gamers sort of didn't care.
We've got games to play. We don't care.
And Sony gamers have been quietly silent because they didn't want to make a thing of it, because they know if they mentioned it, they would just be destroyed. And
they're too busy complaining about Halo and other games.
Exactly. To hear about it. They bought a PlayStation 5. They bought a PlayStation 5 to play GODFALL because it's only playable on PS5. They was told God of War, Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon Zero Dawn released in 2021 and also only be on PlayStation 5. So those 4 games, they were told, will only be on PS5.
But they could only be done on PS5, right?
Because the SSD. And they were lied to. And that's why they're quiet about that shit.
They are. And why are they not outraged? Why aren't they talking about it?
Yeah, imagine you bought, because this is what they were telling us, they bought PlayStation 5 to play Spider-Man Miles Morales, which then turned out to be on PlayStation 4. Demon Souls,
Demon Souls,
which is just a remaster of a PS3 game, and
Mm-hmm.
and GODFALL, because it's only on PS5 and only came on PS5. It proves the SSD, and now it's on PS4. If you bought a PS5 at launch, you'd be thinking right now. I mean, imagine you and me just bought a PS5 at launch, and I'm glad we didn't, and we went with this, didn't we? We said the reasons why in our episodes way back, reasons why we're not buying it, and I'm glad we stayed true because we've been right, and I'm so glad I didn't buy one now at launch. So I couldn't get on the Xbox Series X, and I'm so glad I didn't buy a PS5 instead, because how sorry would you have been right now if you bought a PS5? How sorry
I probably would
you
have been pissed off considering the amount of narrative that PlayStation was spewing and that their consumers ate up and kind of tried to shove it back in our faces as Xbox gamers. Like, they're going to be focusing on, like, we believe in generations and we do this and we do that, and they've just kind of backpeeled on everything. I would have been really pissed off buying a PlayStation 5 and then seeing all these games come out at a cheaper price because you're paying that $10 charge for playing the game on the PS5, guys. It's just, I don't know how many times I can say it, it's fucking ridiculous. The games, for you to have to pay for upgrades is bullshit. Absolutely bullshit that you're paying $10 for an upgrade of a game that the developers are already working on, and they're using this time to learn how to further develop for future games on the PS5. They shouldn't be charging you for playing a game on a PS5 when the game can run on a PS4. Who the hell cares that they are just implementing a few minor changes so it's worth that $10 charge? It's not worth that $10 charge. It has never been worth that $10 charge. PC gamers don't get charged that trash bullshit story. They don't do it. They just upgrade their PC, their rigs, and they get to play that game without paying an additional charge to take advantage. Imagine if there was a pay wall for an advantage to, like, take advantage of. Oh, I keep saying the word advantage to be able to enable certain settings in PC. If you had to pay for that and go, oh, I want to be able to play 4K, so I'm gonna have to pay $10 to get this feature enabled.
Exactly,
how the fucking... I'm so pissed off. It, like, honestly, it just pisses me off. Like, on Xbox side, they're not doing that unless the developer is making you do it. Xbox has been very candid that if you can play the game on the Xbox One, you can play it on the Xbox Series X and Series X console at no further charge via smart delivery. You bought the game. You don't have to pay for it a second time. You don't have to pay for an upgrade. PlayStation is doing so many things wrong this generation, and their gamers don't give a fuck at all. Oh, I'm so angry with them. Sorry, ranting like crazy. But it's just true. It's just absolutely ridiculous that you guys can nitpick at Xbox games, but you won't bloody nitpick at what hell PlayStation is feeding you. Trash after trash after trash with their consumer unfriendly practices. Xbox is making you guys look like fools.
Okay. Are you sure you don't have to drink? No, I agree. We all agree. It is, and it's horrible. You know what I think we should do, Red? I think one day we should get a PlayStation fan in here, just so we can talk to them. What do you think?
Yep, we should. There is a pale... Yep. We should.
I think it'd be great to hear their opinion, and then we talk to them directly. Because at the moment, it just sounds like, just Xbox centric podcast, and they're ignorant. But it'd be good to get a PlayStation fan in here, so we can get his opinion, and then we can sort of talk to them and go through it, and then we can get everyone in, we can hear their logic of stuff, and have a really good debate about it. Because
keep myself in check. There's just so many things that are just like, and it feels like every time we do a podcast, it feels like I'm just banging my head against the wall because I don't know what it is. They're just like deaf to what's actually happening in reality.
It does come across as if they got all exceptionally low IQs.
Yeah.
As if they're all from the same gene pool, and that pool is sort of less of a pool, more of a sort of a puddle or like a drip, and they're all just swimming about and they're all just swimming about and just bump into each other like don't don't like each other. That's what I'm sort of gathering from their cult.
Yeah, but
Community.
to turn around and say that this game can't be done on a PS4, and then to go and do it on a PS4 and it's cheaper because you're not being charged that you're getting charged $10 less because it's a downgraded version, or whatever the game actually released at the price. They're not charging you $70. All they're doing is scaling the game. Imagine if that game, Godfall, was like $70 on the PS4. Outrage.
Yeah.
They're just scaling back some of the settings. That's all they're doing.
Exactly.
And on the PS5, they're scaling up the settings. Is it worth $10? No.
How could you release a
not to do
game
that.
on next gen console and then say it's next gen and then suddenly just release? They must have purposely made. They must have made a PS4 version of that game. It's not as if you can just suddenly release a next. You can understand it going from a lower gen and upgrade to the next gen, but to make it next gen and then downscale it is much harder than to upscale it, I think.
Yeah.
So they must have made a PS4 version and knew that there would be a PS4 version prior to them.
I think the game was originally made on the PS4.
I think it was as well.
And then they said, bring this out on the PS5 and we'll have it PS5 only.
I don't think
and then it didn't do well.
Yeah.
It didn't do well.
Yeah.
So they had to try and recoup some sales and sell it on the PS4. It's going to be interesting because
I think Sony, like many times we've seen that, I think Sony probably told them, don't release on the PS4. We've got no games exclusive to the PS5 at launch. We will pay X amount of money. Just release this and say it's PS5 only, please. Do that. And here's some money. That must have happened. That conversation must have happened.
Someone made a really good point that it was recently shown that Ratchet and Clank was going to be coming out on the PS4 and then it disappeared about a month ago.
Yeah.
I also think, and I know and I'll take the L here big time, is that I said that I feel like I agree that this couldn't be done on the PS4 or PS4 Pro, but looking at what's happening now, I think that it definitely could be. I think there are going to be some concessions.
A video that said that Dev said it could be done. He said it could be done on the Xbox Series X, didn't he? He said it's not. He said there's ways around it. It's not that incredible. And then after you've played other games that had exactly the same feature, because that's all the SSD was apparently meant to cover, the leap in between planets. But like Psychonauts, if you play Psychonauts, when you go through these little doorways, there's little doorways you go through, isn't there? And you basically port into another world, and then you look back into the other one, and that's like another world, and then you look in your world, and it's completely different. It's two different worlds. Exactly the same. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing.
And Shizno said he's not. What was he saying? Truthfully, there's nothing out there that can't run on both at least for a few years, for the PS5 and the PS4. And I think there's nothing out there at the moment. Yeah.
And Starfield.
And there's some games that clearly they're going to make sure aren't able to do certain things on last gen because
I think
you've got to have a cutoff.
I think things using probably Unreal Engine 5 will only be capable next gen. I don't think Unreal 5 will be capable on last gen.
And Xbox did come out, and Phil was talking about, and like Matt Booty were talking about, like games are going to come out for the Series X and the Series S that will be cross-gen for the first 1 to 2 years. So we're still going to get cross-gen games next year, but there's going to be less. So we've got a lot more next-gen only games coming out next year as well on the Xbox side. But I think next year is probably going to be one of the last years that we're going to see cross-gen games, especially from first-party studios. You're going to see everything now be next gen only, whereas we're not going to see that yet on the PlayStation side.
Yeah, I agree. Right, should we leave it? Should we leave it on there? We've dragged this.
Leave it there after my crazy freaking rant. This is our longest show ever.
But me and the chat, we went off for a beer while you had that rant. So you was on your own for about 15, 20 minutes.
I saw that. I just honestly, you got to tell it like it is. And
we went off, had some drinks, played blackjack, and then come back 20 minutes later and you're still talking.
Still talking. I talk so much anyway. Like it's not like I don't have nothing to say. But I appreciate everyone who has come and joined us live and are in the chat. Who survived my rant.
You should listen to King Thrash rant. You've not heard anything. Wow.
I think my rant's probably respectful in nature because that's who I am as a person, and I'm not going to use language that I think.
When you rant, you don't sound confused by what you're saying. Whereas when he's talking, he sounds sort of lost and confused by his own words.
But yeah, appreciate everyone. Share this out, like, please comment. I would love to hear any thoughts about our topics or anything that, like, what was your game of the year for this year? If you've watched the Power On documentary, what were your thoughts on it? Anything around that, thoughts on Halo campaign, just chuck it in the comments.
Good to get a comment
You
down,
can
yeah.
you can message me on Twitter, Red Dead Panda Gaming 1, and that's the number 1. But yeah,
I think we've got our Twitter
love the community
handles,
we're a part of.
Yeah, and YouTube handles in the comments or it's somewhere, isn't it? On here, I'll put it on.
It's on our thumbnail
description.
thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, please sub and share and throw out on Twitter. It'd be good to get more people, and hopefully you'll join us next week. It'll be our last show before Christmas, before the breakup.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to have more people on board for holidays.
See if we can get a guest for next week.
Yeah,
but we'll be back in the new year.
Yeah.
And Boom is nice enough to have me on his show in the new year,
so
which is lovely.
Red Dead Panda's going on Noof show and and Boom.
And Boom show, in the new year.
Double Barrel Gaming Boom show, and also Noof. When you go to Noof show?
I don't know. We're sussing that out, but I appreciate that they're giving me the time of day. Love it. Yeah,
so
and there might be another podcast that I jump on as well.
Get onto these shows as well.
No. It's too much. I'll probably die. But yeah, I just love our community. And I think anyone who, and I love doing the podcast every week, guys. It's great.
So
when we can do it.
Yes. So should we leave it there? Thank you for watching.
Yes. Have a great. If you don't join us next week and we don't say anything, have a safe holiday and happy New Year and so on and so forth. And enjoy the games.
Hopefully, all you guys, Lewis, Shizno, Pyro, Others Inc.,
Legal.
Anyone else in chat who's left?
Tando,
I think, is he still here? No,
I don't know. No, that's all right.
Whatevs. Hope you can all join us next week for our last show for Christmas. Until then, be safe, guys, and thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.
Bye.
Bye.